Hello, we're back.
Hi.
Fred and Sheila McCoy, and we're discussing different aspects of the Hatfield-McCoy feud, misrepresentations and corrections. And we done a video a while back of the three bodies laying on the porch that has been proven to be from the OK Corral. So we'll skip that part. What we want to discuss today is the Paw Paw Tree killings themselves. After the three McCoy boys were taken from Blackberry over to Mate One, after Ellison Hatfield had been stabbed and shot. We're going to go into the first thing we want to discuss is the fight itself. And that fight took place, the first fight between Tolbert McCoy and Bad Elias Hatfield. You know, a lot of people have asked us over the years, what caused the feud? Was it the pig? Was it the election ground fight?
The love affair. The
love affair. And what caused the feud was the Civil War. Plain and simple, Civil War.
Exactly.
Is when the feud started, when Devil Anse deserted and left Randall and so forth. And that's another video.
Yeah.
But that's when the hard feeling started. And then, of course, in 1870, that was 1862, 61 to 62. And then in 1878, when Floyd Hatfield stole Randall McCoy's pig, that was a contributing factor. And then in 1882, you had the election ground killing of Ellison Hatfield, where they stabbed him and shot him. And then,
Anse.
I'm sorry?
Anse.
1865, of course, when they killed Anse McCoy, that was the first killing of the feud. Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very important. That was another thing that held hostility with killing Randall McCoy's brother. And we're going to go over that. All this stuff leads into different videos because it's just too longer topics to get into all of them at the same time. So we'll try to cut these down and explain each happening by itself and in smaller videos so we don't bore you to death.
Exactly.
The Paw Paw Tree killing itself, of course, Ellison was in a fight with Tolbert McCoy, and according to newspaper accounts and eyewitnesses, different things, you know. And again, you can believe whatever a person wants to believe in all this. If you want to believe the tall tales, you can. And it seems like over the years, the Hatfields, the West Virginia, when I talk about Hatfields, I talk about West Virginia Hatfields and McCoys and Kentucky Hatfields and McCoys. And that's basically what it was. A lot of people wants to act like the feud was Hatfields and McCoys. That's not true at all. Devil Anse employed several McCoys, Selkirk McCoy and different ones that worked for him. Even Selkirk was a witness for him in the hog trial, or in the jury pool, rather. So it's not a Hatfield-McCoy thing as much as people in history wanted you to believe that it was. It was West Virginia Hatfields and McCoys against Kentucky Hatfields and McCoys. Basically, the two states is what it turned out to.
Mm-hmm.
They took the three McCoy boys to the Paw Paw Trees at Buskirk, just outside of Mate One there. And Devil Anse told him, you came into this world naked, you're going to go out the same way. And he had his men strip the guys down. They tied the three boys to three Paw Paw trees. And Devil Anse told each person, there was at least 23, there was actually 24, but there's 23 that's indicted. This is the Pike County grand jury indictment form here.
Yeah.
And charged with murder. There's 23 names. The one that's not on there is Jim Vance. And we'll explain why he's not on there in a minute. But Devil Anse told each one of the guys who to shoot. And at some point, the guys finally realized that Devil Anse is for real. They thought he was bluffing and trying to scare them. And Devil Anse had a reputation of wanting people to beg to him. Union soldiers or whatever, when something would happen. He was brutal, and he had short man syndrome as far as little man syndrome, And he was a man to be reckoned with, but so was Charles Manson. But he stripped them down naked, tied them up, and told his men who to shoot. Well, in telling his men who to shoot, nobody was given Randall McCoy Jr.'s name. And the reason why is he was innocent.
He was innocent, totally innocent. He shouldn't have been killed. William was the one that was involved in the election ground incident instead of Randal Jr.
Yeah.
So.
William, his brother, was actually one of the ones that was fighting with Ellison Hatfield. May have even stabbed Ellison, may have shot Ellison, I don't know. But it was William. Randal Jr., Bud, as they called him, was not involved. It was just after the three McCoys took off running. After that happened, they snagged three. They snagged three McCoys, and the third one they snagged was the wrong one. So 3 days later, of course, when Ellison died, Devil Anse realized that they had the wrong McCoy. This 15-year-old boy, Randall McCoy's namesake, was not involved. And so he told the boys you could pray. If you want to pray, go ahead. Well, when they started praying, before they done that, Tolbert had asked to let the other two brothers go. That, you know, he was just defending himself against Ellison and so forth. And Devil Anse didn't buy that. And finally he asked, he just said, let the other two, it's me, let the other two go. He wouldn't do that. So they started firing on the men while they were praying. And when the smoke cleared, you had two dead.
Yeah.
Tolbert and Pharmer. Bud McCoy, Randal Jr., was still alive. And everybody thought that was because Devil Anse knew he was innocent and he couldn't justify killing him. So he was going to try to save face and give him a chance to save himself while Devil Anse could keep his reputation. And after the two were killed, he walked up to the tree to where Randal Jr. was, and he told Randal Jr., get on your knees and beg me, and I'll let you live. And the story was that Randal Jr. looked at Tolbert and Pharmer laying there all bloodied and slumped over against a tree, and he looked at Devil Anse and said, to hell with you Hatfields, Devil Anse. And Devil Anse turned to walk away, and when he did, he pulled his pistol and shot Randal Jr. in the head, emptying his gun and killing him dead. And actually, they said it just almost took his head completely off, 6 shots to the head. Devil Anse got it on his horse and he rode off back to West Virginia. After that, the story was that Cap Hatfield looked at the rest of the guys that was online, the firing squad, and said, guys, that right there was the real McCoy. And supposedly, that's where the
nickname or the
phrase, exactly, came up with the real McCoy. He might have been a real McCoy, but he was also a dead McCoy at that time, 15 years old. And they had killed him. And after that happened, Jim Vance, who was there, went over, took his gun, and he shot each one. They're all dead. They're all 3 dead already. In fact, they said that Randal Jr. had barely had a head left from where Devil Anse had shot him 6 times in the head. And he shoots each one of them in the head again, Jim Vance does. And he looks back and tells the guys, what happened here today stays here.
Mm-hmm. If ever you tell that I was here, I will hunt you down and kill you and your family. And that was told by one of his kinfolk.
That was told to us by his great-grandson, and we believe it. He had all kinds of stories to tell us, very knowledgeable old man. And a lot of people in life, they've always questioned some authors. They say, well, why wasn't Jim Vance's name on the indictment? And that just shows the fear that Jim Vance instilled into people at that point in his life, because none of the guys named him until later on. And then Alex Messer and Cotton Top later on in life started naming Jim Vance as being there with him. And
his own family, like I said, his great great grandson was telling us stories.
So the story of the Paw Paw trees, of course, they come and got the bodies and took them back home, and they buried them up here on the across from Randall McCoy's property. Sheila's going to take pictures.
Right, and I included at the end of the video, I'll take close-up so you can look at everything, pause your TV, read it, take your time to look over everything, and see for yourself.
Some of these writings that we've got here is right out of our book that we've just enlarged and put up here on the poster. So, but down here is the monument that was put up in 1976 at the Bury the Hatchet meeting at Hardy when the last living son of Devil Anse's Willis Hatfield got with Jim McCoy, the oldest living McCoy at the time, and had a Bury the Hatchet ceremony where they had a peace treaty and declared peace between the two families, the Hatfields and McCoys. And that's when the feud was officially ended as far as for the books, even though it had ended with the hanging of Cotton Top. That was the last killing as far as that goes. The
bodies of the McCoy boys are like in one grave, and then you have Alifair and Calvin
and William.
And William, who are buried.
There's 6